Hello and welcome to Wrestling Headlines WWE RAW review. My name is Maher, aka Imp, and let's have a lovely cup of tea. New Day Champs. That's not planned at all. I didn't have any plan to do that whatsoever, but it's happened. It's happened. Yeah, New Day Champs. Not the opening for the show. I'm meant to be talking about the WWE Championship, but a lovely cup of tea, my New Day mug. The Tag Team Champions of Monday Night Raw. 11-time champions. To which my immediate reaction was, why? Why is this happening? And then AJ Styles almost came out. I was like, oh, that's why, to give Omos his big E Fandango. As it's close to Big E, because Big E also debuted in a tag team match at WrestleMania. Was it even for the titles as well? But yes, to give Omos that big WrestleMania debut, that's why New Day have the titles. And immediately, case in point, that there's been no... Like, they didn't know they were going to do this until they finally started finalising on the card, assumably this past week. In terms of not just the main events. Obviously, it feels like they were finalised ages ago because they've been building to them. But the rest of the show, given they've got 2 cards to fill, yeah, finally, Monday Night Raw got stuff put in place. Finally, there's now 3 Raw to go to WrestleMania. Yes. But I get my New Day Champs, New Day tea. Lovely. Anyway, we are live here on YouTube and also available in podcast form later. Links in the description, or head over to wrestlingheadlines.net for your latest wrestling news. And I'm going to kick off with my kind of view of this Raw, because this was a Raw that reminded me that, man, Raw is so flipping weird. Like, all of my least favourite WWE tropes crammed into one show of, like, normally questioning pain. Like, the yin to SmackDown's yang, the darkness to Friday's light. However, if I were to... Like, I will always say, there are segments I enjoy. It's just, as a show overall, it's easily my least favourite of the week, without question. And previously, SmackDown was easily one of them. It's been the case ever since the new brand split. I don't understand it. It's like a constant thing has been. One of the shows has been fantastic. The other one of the shows, right in the bin. So, after the draft, like initially, SmackDown Live, absolutely killing it, Monday Night Raw, holding on to a lot of stuff. Nowadays, fast forward, I'm not going to go through every era. That's a separate video in itself. But with with current day, you've got SmackDown, which has been killing it on Fox recently. Like, ever since Roman Reigns' return, it felt like every other portion of the show has been getting character. It's been great. And you see that over the course of time. You get towards WrestleMania, it feels like there's a lot of things that matter and characters have substance to them. They come to Monday Night Raw and we're still on rematches and things like that. It's like, oh, it's a shame. Like, going into this Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles to, again, bring up the segment I'm not meant to be talking about. When AJ Styles came out, he said, oh, isn't it crazy that I've not got a match yet at WrestleMania? Just my immediate thought was, well, going into tonight, literally... no match had been announced for WrestleMania from the Raw side. Not one. As in terms of, like, if you follow the show, if you're like us, if you keep on top of stuff, you know there are shows that were just waiting to be announced that are pretty much there. Like Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. That just needed something to set it up. Personally, the way they did it was pretty naff. As in, just announced it 5 minutes before the show on Twitter, then played a graphic. It's like, you're not going to do anything to set that up? Because last week for me was a setup to the... It's the intro to the setup, in a way. Then the story kick-started, but... because it left it so late, because it seemingly hadn't decided what they were going to do. It's one of those things where... it's like, I mean, the story would have felt thin if you've spent time kind of setting it up an intro. But because Fastlane is this week, maybe this Raw, but then what happened on this Raw wouldn't have happened. And then you haven't got that substance to then run to the final 3 weeks before WrestleMania. It's one of those things where the mistakes have been made, and this, for me, is WWE doing their thing I've praised them for before in the past, and creating their own mistake, but in the end of the day, fixing it. Of course, like, the repetitive pattern is they keep doing it, and that was one of my critiques back in 2017. They keep creating these, and back when was I doing shows with Burn in 2017? I can't remember when he left. But the answer is a mixture of the two. But yeah, to say that's like my first era of talking about wrestling, doing podcasts with my American amigo who I met in the Laws of Pain columns forum. Burn, yeah, tangent alert. Let's bring it back. But yeah, it's a pattern they keep creating, and for me, this is what they did this week. This Monday Night Raw was a complete kind of setting us up for the road to WrestleMania. There's 3 more episodes to go after Fastlane. Fastlane is incredibly close to WrestleMania. So we're on that road, and we're finally getting there. Finally getting there. So applause, and applause for the New Day tag champions. So yeah, this is the only wrestling merch I've got. I guess does it count where technically in my position as a kid, parents bought me wrestling action figures. I've got a toy Bobby Lashley. I should get the parents to tell me where that is. Actually, I think I know where it is. Anyway, it's not my Bobby. Bobby Lashley wasn't mine. He was my younger brother's. He's relevant now. I should get him for the WrestleMania review. Get the Bobby Lashley action figure. Yeah. Sorry, Ben, I need the action figure. Tangent. So, speaking of Bobby Lashley, we opened the show with, of course, the graphic of the WWE Championship match announcement for WrestleMania. Again, for me, pretty naff. If you only watched Raw, for me, that's why it's naff. Where they had Drew McIntyre and Sheamus have the big brawl, and he had the kind of shifting towards Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre. However, because they started it so late in the game, personally for me, to have the middle portion have a bit of substance to it, they've had to jump over this first bit. And that's the dilly-dallying issue. Because they dilly-dallied and didn't pull the trigger earlier, that meant that we've now done it for like 4 weeks out, so we can finally start building to WrestleMania, which is incredibly close. But yeah, watching week to week, it feels like we've jumped quite a bit from what happened last week to what happened this week. Again, it set it up last week where, okay, now we might be moving on to this story next week, and this week was full on into the stories. Like we've missed the setup. We've missed Drew McIntyre becoming number one contender. We've missed all of that announcement. It was Drew McIntyre in last week's show, pretty much just him and Bobby Lashley, him going pretty much, I might challenge you next, and then it's officially announced. There's no Drew McIntyre confirming that's what's going to happen next. There's no kind of pushback from management going, well, you got to earn it or anything. Like, no, just bang, announced. Like, okay, we're hinting that we could build animosity, but immediately match announced. So yeah, again, it's a fix to a problem they created previously. So I'm not going to rib on the fix too much. It's the previous work that's kind of forced them into rushing it. But that's how we started off the show. Bobby Lashley and MVP kicked off with a message of hurt with I guess a pretty typical heel promo, but because of who's delivering it, it doesn't feel so. MVP announcing we have entered the almighty era. It took 16 years, but he finally got an opportunity and completely dominated his opponent in style. Loved it. When Miz and Morrison came out to once again try to force their way into the WWE Championship picture for WrestleMania, when it's so clear they don't belong. Both Drew and Bobby, and for me that's me praising the story because that's the exact feeling you're meant to be getting. Both Drew and Bobby just like giving them a zero credence and attention. Like, I won't lie as well, like the duo got a little chuckle out of their Stone Cold impression. As they listed like all the greatest rivalries that had big matches at WrestleMania, and the last one they named was The Rock Steve Austin, where their last WrestleMania match was 18 years ago. And there's Hogan and Andre, Rock and Austin, Time Jump, me, The Miz. It's just again, John Cena was a mega star, but of course he didn't have that WrestleMania rivalry. I guess the closest is The Rock, but The Rock's is Steve Austin, so it doesn't quite work. For me, maybe the Shield Trooper threat would have been that one, but for some reason they didn't do it. Yeah, drop the issue in. The joke here for The Miz being how delusional Miz is. Like, again, it's a dangerous line to dance when the entire point of it is for you, the viewer, to want him to just go away. Like, a thin line towards go away heat. And really, when I look at the social media, I see it as a mix. Like, personally for me, because that's the feeling they're meant to be going for, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy like, oh, go away. Because that's the entire point. That's the exact feeling I'm meant to be feeling. It's, oh, yeah, you gave me that feeling. And this week it transitioned into the feud where Miz is perfect. Miz and Morrison versus Bad Bunny and Priest, the absolute perfect kind of WrestleMania position for them. For like every party involved. It's great stuff. And the Miz kind of falling out the championship picture helped. But I guess, in a way, the Miz in the championship picture will elevate Damian Priest when he beats him. I guess we'll wait and see. Again, I'm waiting for the question of how long does the concentration on Damien Priest actually last once Bad Bunny's gone. I don't mean that in a because Damien Priest only because of Bad Bunny type thing, or Vince is only paying attention because of Bad Bunny. I'm saying it as a track record thing for NXT wrestlers coming up to the main roster, getting a load of attention to start with, and then just nothing. Once it's time to transition to the new program, there is nothing, they disappear. There's a track record of it happening. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it's happened to so many of them that I've been scarred. I just expect it every time. I expect a decent first month, as long as they don't face Dolph Ziggler. A decent first month, and then nothing. That's my expectancy. So, but the WrestleMania feud is perfect, really. Should help get rid of that. But we've got to see ourselves some animosity between McIntyre and Lashes. A decent first promo setting up the road ahead. And you know Drew is serious because he said the B word. It's like, yes, it's a joke now. First off, my immediate impression was again, like, come on. A British lad wouldn't say that. Never mind a Scottish one. Wouldn't say, you big bold bitch. There's just, yeah. There's nowhere near creative or wordplay-y enough for us. There's nothing in there to kind of to activate the British sense of humour. There is nothing in that line. That is an American's written that. And of course, for the rest of the promo, he was drawing the parallels between McIntyre and Lashley's career, where they both left WWE and they both proved themselves, came back, became WWE champion. I love that he's drawing the parallels there. That was a great way to kind of tie them in and then jump forward for over the next 3 weeks. I thought it was a great way to do it. Then he's calls him a big bold bitch. I'm like, whoa, where's that come from? Other than it feels like the promo is like, well, they've got to have that line where you've got to show that Drew McIntyre is now he's getting serious type of thing. But they can only use they've only got access to one word from the naughty list. They've only got one word, and you're damn right. When that's the case, eventually it becomes a joke. Again, especially when the competition swears all the time. As a WWE feels weird in comparison in that vein, where AEW is allowed in their insults to other people to feel way more natural. Again, because the way that it's kind of planned and written out is extremely different. It's a lot less kind of hands-on in terms of word for word what they say, and you can tell when you watch it. But also, they're allowed to swear. Which in terms of this specifically, the bitch thing had a reaction when it was zero swearing apart from ass, which, to be fair, I remember even ass getting a reaction. Phrasing, Jesus. But yeah, I remember when, I don't want to elaborate on, when I first started watching wrestling, zero, I did it in the kind of ruthless aggression. It was late 2005. 2006 is when I finally was able to watch wrestling. I finally got Sky. I was finally able to actually watch it week to week for the first time, instead of now and then at a friend's house or a random VHS or whatever. But I remember as it progressed, events over the course of time, suddenly they would never say ass. It was never, not even that. That was for me, that's bottom tier, on the bottom of the naughty list. Ass is very low. It's not very high up that list. But then The Rock came back and he said bitch. And oh Nelly, he said bitch. Suddenly, I remember at the time there was lots of conversation of how he's the only one that's allowed to swear, which kind of makes the main it's something the main roster can't do, but the special guy is. I remember that being a point of contention somewhat. Not massively, obviously. I mean, probably, we know what the internet's like, it may have been massive. It was a decade ago, I don't really remember. But I was still in school, so... But yeah, I really enjoyed AEW kind of bringing back the swearing properly, whilst WWE, once the bitch thing happened, eventually they allowed their roster to say it, but it's the only one. It's the only word they're allowed to... And I've accidentally transitioned into the history of WWE and swearing after the Attitude Era. Or I guess after the mid-noughties. But yeah, they're allowed to say bitch, but that's it. They're not allowed to say any other swear word. And I guess we sneak in the odd English one. You get you odd wanker, you odd bollocks. It is there. Because, it's not a swear word in America, but for the British people, we can do a swear But because it's not in America, you will understand that we're doing a swear, but yeah, the Americans can't do it. They're stuck with bitch. We've got a variety of creative alternatives. Drew McIntyre on Raw Talk just saying the F word. He immediately was like, oh crap, this is the build for WrestleMania and I've said the F word. And I think he and Truth both did really well to cover that up on Raw Talk. But yeah, we like to swear. It's a lot more open and things. It's like a small tangent. But it's on swearing. My brother's wife is from Utah, and when she first came over, remember the look on her face when on our panel shows, just like comedy things, where we'll have comedians on there playing parlour games, essentially. But they're comedians, so it's like 30 minutes of entertainment. But on it, open swearing. So from like 9 PM onwards, you can expect any form of swearing whatsoever. But we all know that. It's called the watershed. So as soon as 9 PM hits, you can swear as much as you like. But everyone knows that's the time when suddenly it's all free. But American TV, I mean, especially like the channels like USA, obviously. Other ones different, but yeah, it's the fact where it's like so kind of like, oh no, you can't. You need to get permission. Is it even if AEW do swear? If I'm right, they need to get permission. They need to say, well, these are the swear words we're saying, and we only get permission to swear this many times per show. Which, as an Englishman, I'm sorry, what? It's so weird. And again, when on our parlour game shows that air at maybe like 9 PM, 8:30 sometimes, yeah, open swearing, like, yeah, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Then I switch on Raw, and they've only got one word in their arsenal. And it's now a joke because they've only got when they've got to make a feud serious, and that person's got to drop an insult. He's got to call them a naughty word. There's only one option, so every character calls them bitch, and it just doesn't fit Drew McIntyre at all. Big burly Scottish lad, like no, he wouldn't call anyone that. It just doesn't. Yeah, it made me laugh. Anyway, history tour of swearing in WWE. I felt like that was needed. That's a video calling, surely. Anyway, that then transitioned into Miz versus McIntyre, and with how the commentators were talking and the kind of dialogue given in the opening promos, the entire point of this was for us to feel tired of Miz's presence. There being like one obvious con when they then have to watch a match with Miz, when whole boys make me feel tired of his presence. Now watch 10 more, 15 minutes of him. Miz surviving by antics, Morrison getting ejected before the break, and McIntyre eventually launching a man around the ring. Bobby Lashley got to look dominant against the lad, but now it was Drew's turn. A complete domination before locking in the Hurt Lock to send a message to Raw's big boy on top. And it was... I liked the message, I thought that was good, but the match itself didn't really do anything for me in terms of, like, did I enjoy the match? It was on... and I didn't really pay attention. I mean, I was watching it, but it didn't grab my attention until the final beats. And really, and we'll just note, Morrison's get up with his hair all done up and his cow shirt. I don't really know how to explain that. Yeah, iconic look, iconic. Anyway, a sip of the New Day tea. I may have done a Yakuza 0 stream on Twitch earlier today, and I may have done my throat in with some of the voices I was doing. A lot of dialogue to read, and I do a different voice for every person I see. I may have chosen a bad one. Anyway, so that then transitions to the main event, as we're keeping talking about the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre came out and he cut a promo in the ring by himself before the main event. He saved a fortune since embracing his Scottish heritage and dressing in nay but a kilt 24/7. But he was pretty much just saying he's out for the big boy main event to scout his next two pay-per-view opponents. He wasn't there to talk about his genius idea to save money. Yeah, just wear a kilt, like it's lockdown. Not going anywhere, just wear a kilt. Sell all your t-shirts. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, it's lockdown, just sell them all, just wear a kilt. Oh, it's a genius idea. He's onto something. Now, our main event was the WWE Champion Bobby Lashley versus Sheamus. And did I forget to say earlier that Sheamus jumped Bobby Lashley? I think in a nice little twist for me. I definitely vote that. I don't remember saying it. Yeah, here we go. So it was a nice little twist in Sheamus jumping Lashley on stage earlier, and that kind of led us to the main event. I knew I wrote something down for it. I'm going to skipped right over it. Anyway, a strong main event to a mediocre Raw. We'll say, but a mediocre Raw with direction. So it's like far better than some recent pain. It's setting up things. It's going somewhere. It's not throwaway. No segments for throwaway doesn't mean I enjoyed the show. Just that they all had a purpose. They all went to a thing. So yeah. Anyway, two beefy lads battering steak out of each other. Insert the Big E promo for this mighty tasty broth of the big Bobby Lashes versus the Irish Sheamus. Stiff strikes, ringside suplexes, superplexes. This match had it all. With Drew McIntyre smiling in his chair on ringside. He just sat at the end of the ramp smiling his ass off, watching these two burly men beat the crap out of each other. Instead of action, I popped for Sheamus's brogue knee into a white noise. I don't think he calls it. Just oh, what a knee, or oh, what a manoeuvre, type of stuff. I was like, no, he does like the little pop-up kind of thing he does for the brogue kick. It does a little axe movement, that's it. But he did that into the knee. I was like, I like that. And then hit the white noise. Also, Lashley's spear winning, just like Drew's Claymore last week, got me too. Where like a great finish, as 2 weeks in a row, Sheamus falls to the WrestleMania lad in a Western-style duel after he's not quite quick enough to draw. Just charging in for the bro kick, and then the other guy charges in with their finisher and hits it quicker. I've done that finisher twice, and it popped me twice. I really enjoyed it. I guess the only downside will be if they repeat it at the fast lane to become Bret Hart. But yeah, it's the only worry is, can he repeat the spot again at Fastlane? Or will I moan about it if they do it at Fastlane, even though I've popped for it twice in a row? Is 3 gonna break it? Or it's awesome, doesn't matter, do it again. Wait and see. Just the childish enjoyment take over. Also, Drew hitting the Claymore on Lashley in a Mania message afterwards. I guess Sheamus was on the floor and Miz caught his attention a bit, and then MVP's attention got caught. Then MVP's attention getting caught by Sheamus on the ground distracted Lashley, and that was in an instant. That was it. Claymore to Lashley. Before a more verbal message for his fast lane foe in Sheamus. Yes. It was, yeah. I thought this main event was fantastic. Again, a big old brawl. If you've heard, if you listen to the NXT review where it was myself and James Boyd from Nation Radio, we're talking about Raquel Gonzalez versus Rhea Ripley in the Big Hoss match. I like myself a Big Hoss match. Like, again, mid-noughties when a lot of the matches wrestled at that pace. It's not when every match kind of starts to hit a similar kind of vein. For me, variety is king, and I feel like that's why I enjoy Toru Yano, the comedic jokester in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I enjoy his matches a hell of a lot during the G1 Climax, because for me, variety is an absolutely massive part of it, and he breaks up the kind of serious flow just into pure nonsense. So I'm all for that, and I really nowadays I really enjoy the Big Hoss main event matches, because they're not the common style of the wrestling. So I really enjoy seeing that style when it happens. Again, in the 80s, where big roidy bastards. The views expressed by him are his own and not those of wrestling headlines. But yeah, the big muscly bastards all hossing each other. But yeah, I genuinely enjoy watching them now, because it's not the modern style. So when it does happen, oh yes, all in on it, all in. But yeah, so that's my praise. I thought the main event was great. I thought the main rest of the show had direction. I didn't think a lot of it was direction I enjoyed or it helped the show have a flow or anything. But the main event was so strong, 100% check that out. I really, really enjoyed it. And it's a perfect, because I was really struggling to think that, I was like, this show just hasn't got me excited for like Fastlane or WrestleMania really. Then the main event happened and it's like, nope, you did it. You got me in on Sheamus McIntyre, even though you've given it me twice already, and then you got me in on Lashley McIntyre as well. And with only 3 weeks to build, they can't faff around. So it's like, yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah. So yeah, the WWE title picture, for me, all year long, even when I've complained at Raw being completely in the bin, just like difficult to get through at times, I've had to, since doing this, however long it's been, I have in the past had to pause Raw, leave, and then calm down, come back, because it got me that much into like arc destroying, setup-y kind of thing. But Yeah, I think I was watching G1 Climax at the time, so I was tired. So it's not the same. If I'm knackered doing something else that I'm really enjoying and then I have to spend 3 hours watching a shit show that's breaking audio continuity, I'm gonna break. But yeah, this Monday Night Raw, I call it a mediocre Raw, but it had direction. It set things up. And because I think I was saying before in terms of praise, like, yeah, I'm not just going to praise you for doing a story type of thing. It's like, it still has to be good. So like, oh, you complain if they do a long-term story, you complain if they do this, and that. I mean, it still has to be good. The quality of it still comes into play. The quality of the booking and the writing, like, that still matters. It doesn't matter, like, short-term, long-term. It's just, for me, you've seen the depth that it can give a show and a film to all of the characters if you plan things out a bit more. That's my personal take on it. Again, comic book writing can work. It's great for the shock kind of thing you get from WWE quite a lot, like surprise reactions type of thing, short-term excitement and bursts. That's what WWE is for me, short-term excitement. And it's trying to keep the train constantly going on short-term excitement. While I still watch AEW, they're going a lot more longer with things. So like when a feud stops being on AEW Dynamite, I don't think, oh, that drops now. Whilst WWE, I do. And I'll get onto that with like Kofi Mustafa Ali, for example, where once they move on, that's it, done. We're not coming back to that unless there's a little callback or further down the line type of thing. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, mainly praise. I want to say a lot of it's faint praise, but the main event is genuine praise. I think all year long, even when I've been complaining, the main event's been solid for me. They hit a vein of repetition with Orton and McIntyre, but they were constantly putting effort into it, and it felt strong for the majority of it. And McIntyre now against Lashley also feels really strong, so they've managed to keep that momentum for like a full year, essentially. get to the next WrestleMania and still be kind of hot on that momentum. Job well done. Congratulations. Yeah. So, now onto the main show. Should we kick off with style? Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. What was this? So, I used being ill last week as an excuse to not watch Raw. So, I did not watch it. But I was looking forward to Shane McMahon's Strowman seeing the stuff after hearing about the nonsense I missed. Just whatever they did last week, it got quite a few comedic reactions from people. So I was really looking forward to seeing what they did this week. And yeah, we got a segment with the two calling each other stupid. Like plenty of, you're stupid, no, you're stupid, and that's why I know you're stupid. It just, yeah. Braun then challenged Shane to a match, which agreed, so I guess here we go. Okay, what in the bollocks is this? So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, Braun Strowman is out there, and my immediate reaction is like, oh, okay, it's happening, it's hopscotch. Okay, it's hopscotch. We're doing that. And again, it's like, so this is what was happening whilst I was watching Dark Elevation last night. Just immediate, like, what is this? Where are they going with this? But then very quickly got where they were going with it. Braun Strowman hates games. He hates games. And Shane McMahon loves games. No, he likes getting under people's skin. So it was just seeming like he was doing it to piss off Braun Strowman. And in that nonsense, like, it did work as a reason for Braun to get like so uppity and charge at the lad. But destruction averted as Shane McMahon used the cameraman who just got everything all mixed up. That's all of his bearings. And he just used the cameraman to clock the large fellow with said camera, who was out for the rest of the match. It never really got started. The flying Omac elbow through the announce table to like end the brawl. And it was like, well, that's like Shane McMahon's like big spot. Interesting, you did it on Raw. Surely you build and build and build to Shane McMahon doing that, but you've started with it. Bold. It's bold. And yeah, leading right into goo, slime, whatever you call it. I wrote goop and then realised, oh wait, no, that's a very different thing now. Leading, like, yeah. This bollocks is still a word that works. For this. Shane shouting stupid over and over as he pours buckets of green slime over the poor straw man. Some reviews write themselves. Just play the clip. Shane McMahon doing it while shouting stupid. It's like, that pretty much sums it up for me. And I don't know, is there a kids award coming up? And Strowman in slime is perfect because I know they do that on kids TV. That's all I got. That's all I got. It immediately reminded me of the food stuff with Roman Reigns in terms of the last time they do something to embarrass a guy becoming the babyface, to then pour that on, and of course the end beat is the bad guy gets it done to them. So that gets incorporated into a match in some way. In the iconic dog food match, who in 10 years' time will be who remembers this classic moment of WWE in the dog food match, so fondly remembered and held as a peak moment of entertainment. This reminded me of that. I was watching it going, what is this bollocks? Why am I watching it? I hope someone doesn't walk in. This is just... But to be fair, to my household, I've made it very, very clear I would not be watching Raw as a show if I wasn't reviewing it for Wrestling Headlines. If I wasn't doing the podcast or the video review, I would not be watching Raw routinely. I'd be watching clips on YouTube. New Japan Cup's on. I'm getting my wrestling. It's fine. It's on every day. Seriously, Gado. Every day? Really? Not a day off or anything? Just bang, 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 bang. Every single day. The man's going to break me. I love the New Japan Cup. But I think we've had one day off since the tournament started. It's like, oh God, it's every single day. It's a lot. New Japan's my number one. That's why I do it. And that's why I feel like with these reviews, I'm able to laugh and giggle a lot more than get generally irritated, because it's not the main wrestling show I'm watching and enjoying. I've got, with New Japan AEW and I guess main roster WWE NXT, I've got a variety of stuff. So if one's not that great, I'm just going to drop it. I'm full of wrestling. Green Goo. Yeah. Shane McMahon. The whole angle is all about each of them trying to prove the other's stupid, but Shane McMahon is going to do several things to prove that he's stupid, and they've got a match at Fastlane confirmed in the show. So immediately I'm like, well, surely that's a WrestleMania thing, but this is surely setting up Braun Strowman doing a thing for Shane McMahon to call him stupid again. I was earlier today listening to the Wrestle Talk review of Monday Night Raw. Just had it on the background whilst I think I was photoshopping. Doesn't matter. Point being, they raised a point an idea that they brawl about the arena, and then Braun Strowman doesn't make it back in the ring for the 10 count because he's so far away, and that's for Shane McMahon to call him stupid. And immediately I was like, oh, that's it. That's the beat. It doesn't have to be exactly that. I'm not the kind of wrestling fan who thinks up my own theories. I never do that with any show. Like when I see people complain, oh, but there are so many other ideas that would be so much better, and I'm just like, maybe I've got amazing ability to never incorporate fan theory into my actual enjoyment of the show. Like, unless it's such a blatant missed opportunity. And more often when that's happened, WWE have course corrected into it, but of course by then the fire's gone. But at least they go, we did it wrong, and then they'll course correct into it more often than not. I guess Daniel Bryan's a good example. But with something like this, I feel like they can hit the beats of Braun Strowman gets proven to be silly and stupid. Shane McMahon points and giggles at him like, you're stupid. I'm a nearly 50-year-old man. You're stupid. Something like that. Like, it's an IT Crowd reference. It's the clown. Sorry for my mostly American audience, but an IT Crowd where it's a clown pointing at Jen in the on a bad date in a clown restaurant thing for kids, and it's just like the clown just points at the characters, goes ha 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 ha. That's what I expect. That is what I expect from Shane McMahon at Fastlane. He's going to do the clown bit from IT Crowd. He's going to point that for Strowman. Maybe, because it's WWE, oversell it, roll on the ground, do the Homer Simpson circle walk. just do that. Do all of that. Yeah, go in with it. The entire angle is stupid. Why not? Why not go full in? Why not? Speaking of interesting, of course I don't know how it's going to play out, and I am a fan of intergender wrestling. Lucha Underground completely sold me on the idea. And all the different kind of lines I've seen about it, it's not realistic. Immediately, I'm just like, seriously, Lucha Underground for me, it put it in the best way possible. It's like, but they're smaller, they wouldn't, so they have a size disadvantage, just like Rey Mysterio does, Ricochet, whatever, what have you. Like that's never stopped a performer before, and yeah, so I'm all for that. This is not that. This is going to be cinematic weird bollocks. Again, I saw a reaction to it, like Bliss versus Orton, that thing. Are they going to do intergender wrestling? No, they're going to do weird, spooky stuff. They've told you that's what's going to happen in the build up to this. Like that's the context they've given you. Therefore, that is what is going to happen. You've had weird stuff, weird spooky spook the entire time. This match is going to be the same, weird spooky spook. But maybe this is the show where Fiend comes back. Do they show it? Do they save it for WrestleMania, where we don't see the Fiend at all until WrestleMania? We've not seen Bray Wyatt in any form whatsoever. I don't know. I feel like it might be quite a cool idea to completely redesign the monster, or have him evolve, be bigger, like Ultimate Form Fiend. Like you've destroyed his persona, but he turns into the horrific monster type of thing. I've tried to picture one, but immediately I'm like, but the enemies are mostly designed so prettily in Persona. That doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite work. I wouldn't mind that idea. As in, just hold off the Fiend, make it feel truly special for WrestleMania. But in the rushed world of WWE that we're currently in, there is a chance that we just get the Fiend at Fastlane, just because they're kind of rushing into setting the card up. So we've got to see the Fiend to get excited about the Fiend. No, not necessarily. I feel like you burn him alive. I feel like it's one of the few opportunities you've got to really hold off until revealing him at WrestleMania. And if the character's I don't mean a complete redesign, but if he's got a different look on him. I don't really know how to explain it. I guess I look forward to it. Basically, I'm expecting some fiery stuff. Give me fire and black goo. Give me Randy Orton walking down a backstage hallway with the lights turned down, sheepishly looking about, and then he opens a door and there's I don't know, singing children noises, things like that. That's what I want. I want crappy film bollocks like that. That's what I want from this match. Give me trash. Feed me trash. Forky trash. Later in the show, Autumn accepted. So get ready for more Fiend stuff this Sunday. I want to say that, hey, some people love it. Not everybody goes, Forky, give me trash. Not everybody says that. But for me, it's very hit and miss. When they were ending Monday Night Raw on Alexa Bliss notes, for me, most were miss, with the odd hitting a fine message. It's a lot of hit and miss for me. It's like watching an SNL show, where sometimes it just ends and you go, that's it then. That was weird. Sometimes it just ends with that feeling, but other times it's, that's generally alright. High reviews of SNL. I don't keep up with it, I'm well behind. My next show to watch is the Dave Chappelle one, when he hosted on the week of the election. That's the next one I've got to watch. It's been that long. Looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for like 3 months. 3 more months. Anyway, Asuka versus Shayna Basler. As you can tell, I'm not very far into the review. I'm running out of stuff to talk about. I've got 2 more segments, and this for me is how empty the kind of card felt, but it was set up-y as well. And I've praised NXT when they've done their set-up shows. It does mean there's not a lot to dig into, really. Anyway, Asuka versus Shayna Basler. Asuka fighting with Revenge Fury after getting a concussion, after legit getting a tooth knocked out from a kick. Great to see the Raw Women's Champion finally, after almost a year, get character. And I guess she got character in the Kairi Sane, Sasha Banks and Bayley stuff, but as a champion, she finally felt like a champion here for me. But other instinct, like T-Dog in The Walking Dead, getting character because you'll soon be eaten by a zombie, and we need the audience to care. And Asuka's gonna get eaten by a zombie. That's what's happening here. She's getting T-Dogged. Like, no, we've had you for years, and now you only get a character now because we need you to die. No. In the match itself, Asuka reversing Basler's clutch after a quick non-stop match from just full-on action of Asuka getting her. I can't think of the word. Retribution. I'm trying to think of the other word, but WWE breaking another word of description. Reversing the clutch is seemingly every time Basler loses, that's how she loses. And babyface getting vicious. It was awesome to see that from Asuka. To see her go to this level, like legit, like I'm a tooth for a tooth kind of stuff. Like, awesome to see them let a babyface be so vicious. In the back of my head, they're turning her heel for Charlotte. Ugh. But as a babyface wanting to get revenge, I like this. It's the type of line I've wanted to see them kind of dance across a bit. But it's WWE, and they often paint very like black and white stuff. So when I see this, I expect them to kind of nudge her towards heel, so then Charlotte can come in. Personally, I'd have her show this viciousness, so she's then got an edge on her against Charlotte. I don't know what else she's going to do at WrestleMania. Surely it's Charlotte, unless Rhea Ripley debuts before WrestleMania. But for me, the way they're doing the coming soon, for me that screams after WrestleMania debut. Personally. But Asuka looking vicious as hell, going to stomp Shayna's face first into an exposed turnbuckle until the referee stops her. It's like, Jesus Christ. And like she already stomped her head into the turnbuckle, but this time it was going to be uncovered, full metal to teeth, to kind of get payback for what happened to her. It's like, yeah, there was a great character moment. Really, really enjoyed that. It's just worry of, like, in terms of, like, it's the past setting the precedent in how they've treated it, and again, the reason Asuka's getting character, she's getting T-dogged. She's getting eaten by zombies. It's that moment. A character that's been on the sidelines suddenly starts getting character and backstories and things. It's like, wait a minute, no, you're going to die. Also, before I move on to the final segment, which was the United States Championship match, quick note, they went through the Fastlane card, and hello to the person who said hello. They went through the Fastlane card, and at this point, having the card for a B pay-per-view sorted ahead of time without like any random matches thrown onto it, for me is worthy of positive recognition. Yes, we'd fallen that low, but we're rising back up to a more competent quality, damn it. That's a Mania season. I'd like my card to be announced ahead of time. Got 3 weeks, and before this Raw, no Raw matches had been announced for WrestleMania. As in, you knew a handful of them, but there's nothing official. SmackDown had a lot more actually going for it, but in terms of like you can tell where a lot of the stuff is going. Compared, because I guess it helps that they've got Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair as well as Edge, Roman Reigns. It makes it all feel a lot more to it. Then you get the character stuff with Big E and Apollo Crews, and Sami Zayn as well. Again, there's so much depth to that show. Whilst Raw, it just feels weird and strange. I realised I didn't talk about the Hurt Business versus New Day. I did the whole New Day mug thing. I realised I've skipped entire matches. That's why I've gone so quickly. I went straight from Shane versus Strowman to Damien. I didn't even do Damien Priest, but straight to the Shane McMahon stuff. That's how I did it. I did it all in one. I just realised. Let's do the United States Championship match. I mean, actually, no. Before I do, I'm going to backtrack because I've done my praise for the Fastlane card. I guess I'll do the quick style notes. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Lana and Naomi. Number 1 contenders forever, with the tag team championships for some reason tied to both singles titles feuds on both shows. Lana and Naomi will never get their shot. And for me personally, this match was really sloppy. And as soon as Lana tagged in and was doing her offense with Mandy Rose, Jesus Christ, the match fell off a cliff for me. I don't know what happened. I've been praising both of those two for improving so much, especially over the past year. But whatever happened on this night. But then Asuka coming out kind of saved the momentum for it all. The finish still looked a bit crap, but the overall kind of the message of the entire segment wasn't broken. Because Shayna Basler and Nia Jax were out there, then Asuka attacked Shayna. Cool. Hurt Day versus New Business. New Day are now 11-time, my New Day mug, are now 11-time tag team champions. Kofi also tying Edge's tag team record with the tag team championship winning record. And I would just also note that after we became exhausted with the pairing of New Day versus the Hurt Business, feeling like we're seeing it every single week, we then got Lucha House Party versus the Hurt Business and New Day versus Retribution week after week. And to break up the tiredness, here we are watching New Day versus Hurt Business, back to square one. But it wasn't. This was back to square one to completely redo it. Sometimes you gotta pass it back. You gotta throw it back to then sprint forward. That works for both footballs, right? That one worked. Yeah. When there just isn't a tag division, brace for repetition. But also, these two teams have always been great together. I've just seen it so much that it's just a blur to me when I'm watching it. The action kind of just blurs together with every other match I've seen them do. It's not been long enough for me of them not wrestling each other. Like, in a genuine surprise to me that New Day actually won. I was like, Hurt Business draped in gold entering WrestleMania. That was my expectation. But that was before they'd settled on the Raw side of the WrestleMania card. And they clearly did that this week, or between the two Raws. They settled on what AJ Styles will be doing. And, yeah, it's going to be involved in the debut of Omos. Scoring the pin was New Day. After Kofi hit the Trouble in Paradise on Shelton, diving elbow from Woods, and the Midnight Hour double teams to secure them the win. After the match, AJ Styles, of all people, waltzed on down to make a challenge with his big friend. Like Big E, Omos will make his debut at WrestleMania in a tag team match. Fair to say, it's a tad jarring, but at least they're settling on the card now. As in, this has come out of nowhere. There's been absolutely no setup to this whatsoever, and suddenly they're in this. It's like, oh, okay, at least they're settling on a card. At least it's not after Fastlane doing it. It's like, oh crap, it's right upon us, what do we do? Again, but then why don't you use Fastlane to set something up? Yeah, again, it doesn't have to be AJ Styles and Omos. You can still save that match of WrestleMania, but, you know, to kind of set up a thing, maybe? I don't know. Also, AJ calling it crazy that he doesn't have a match for WrestleMania. And immediately, no one else does. When this show started, no Raw match had been announced for WrestleMania. Like, you know you're getting Randy Orton Fiend. You know you're getting Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre. But nothing had been announced. Like, you're pretty certainly getting Charlotte Asuka as well. Again, nothing's been announced, though. So, yeah. Also, the Kofi Mustafa Ali stuff never went anywhere. And now on to Ali versus Riddle. And, yeah, like, this isn't AEW. WWE write a more comic book kind of style of writing. I'm not saying that's negative, that's just the way they write. So when mid-card folk move on, that's it, till it's time for a callback. And again, not saying that as a negative. And when quite often when I see, it's like, oh, WWE do long-term storytelling. And I'm like, not really, though. As in, they're still writing it short-term, but then it goes on for a certain amount of time. As in, long-term writing is, you know the end point. You know where you are months down the line. The short-term writing is, you can keep it going, but you're still short-term excitement, trying to keep the train rolling with short-term excitements and bursts, essentially. I was going to use an example, and I thought that's a stupid example. Other note is Bad Bunny relinquished 24/7 title to Truth 315. Got the wrong day. I'm all for that. It's 316. I mean, for me, it's about to turn 317 because I'm in the future. But yes, he just relinquished championship. I've seen some people get annoyed by that. Personally, the 24/7 title is such a joke that I didn't mind. I didn't care really because it's already so low in my opinion. I've heard others point out like they didn't think they thought of it highly, but then as soon as WWE on their show itself just had the champion just give it up. And for me, it didn't even click until I heard somebody else say it. But I was perfectly fine with it. I had no problems whatsoever. I thought, it's 24/7, who actually cares? Like, I'm not going to it doesn't get any emotion out of me, so why would I even have a negative one? When for me, 24/7 title is the worst kind of reaction, which is no reaction. Like, I'm not going to get uppity about it, because it doesn't do anything for me. Like, it's a no reaction to me. I just skip it when it's normally, if I'm able to skip through the review. But when somebody pointed it out to me, it's like, that works. Because later on, you had Bad Bunny get hit in the back. Like, immediately after this was Damien Priest versus Jackson Riker. Priest destroyed Riker within seconds, hitting the lights in under a minute. Bunny saved him from a guitar shot from Elias. And then Damien Priest hit the lights on Elias too. Then you got you got Damien Priest, Bad Bunny in the ring. John Morrison comes down to congratulate them. Or was it to distract? A guitar shot from Miz, who picks up Elias's guitar and hits Bad Bunny over the back with it. Miz and Morrison versus Priest and Bad Bunny changes the tune to WrestleMania. But in that moment, Bad Bunny's been hit over the back with a guitar. You can have Priest chase off Miz and Morrison. You can have some form of thing like that. So Bad Bunny didn't have his friend there. 24/7 title change. I was just like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. But that kind of makes Priest look a little bit stupid after being so easily distracted. So even though you've just handed the title over, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it because the end point was keeping Damien Priest from looking a bit stupid, because I don't think there's any way to do that. It was like, oh, why would he charge after him? Like, he's meant to be protecting him. It's like, yeah, no problem. He just relinquished the title. So, yeah. Anyway, the final segment to talk about to end the show on. I can't believe I just didn't even realise. I missed so many segments. That's what I mean by mediocre show. It sets stuff up, but not particularly memorable or anything. But the United States Championship, Matt Riddle versus Mustafa Ali, who was accompanied by all of Retribution. Two great wrestlers wrestling a wrestling title match. What a novel idea. For me, this is perfect mid-card fodder. To have two lads go out there and kill it. Now, you don't even have to give them a lot of time, and just give them stakes, and there's character with enough shenanigans to not drive into pay-per-view quality lane by accident. You don't want to accidentally drive to the fast lane. They just have nonsense shenanigans with characters going, grrr, character, grrr. That's how I sum up Retribution. Every one of them is just grrr. Ali, once again, looking great, and Riddle continuing to be booked so much better since becoming champion. With the whole brand there, the odds against Riddle are so much higher. Ali's temporary dominance working well because of that. The Retribution distraction attempt they're undoing this week. I say once again, it wasn't the last time I watched them. So I didn't watch last week's show, but I know the week before that Mustafa Ali beat Matt Riddle with an awesome kind of reversal on the top. And yeah, so now Matt Riddle beats him. So I think it's just classic WWE 50-50 booking, so we're guaranteed a match between the two. That's what I feel like it's going. But yeah, the Retribution distraction didn't work again. T-Bar grabbing the ref's attention, ruining an Ali roll-up and letting Riddle reverse out into the Bro Derek, that looked great as well. And crew angry shouting. Just Mustafa Ali just going to all of his guys and was getting, oh, I've lost. Oh, what are you? Oh, I can't believe it. That's simply how they go out every week unless he wins, which is rare. That's rare that happens. Anyway, but that is the end of Monday Night Raw. The go-home shown to Fastlane. For me, personally, didn't do a lot to get me excited for Fastlane. But the pro is there's a full card and they haven't aired SmackDown yet. So SmackDown will just be absolutely full of direction to just drive us down the Fastlane. It's weird having Fastlane so close to WrestleMania. Because afterwards, it's 3 weeks. I'm used to... Because I swear the structure used to be like a full month at least, if not 5 weeks. So you get that build, that anticipation. Like when it's those last couple of weeks, you got it in your head. Is it like a couple of weeks or is it another one? Because it's been a while since a pay-per-view, which makes the big one feel even more special when it happens. But there's this one, and it's the normal 3-week cycle, and it's WrestleMania. That's a little bit weird. Was this pay-per-view actually necessary, given that you just announced stuff off of it anyway? So what's the point of the pay-per-view? At least it's giving us the Daniel Bryan angle. At least there's that to work with. There's some excitement at Fastlane. They've done this before with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan at Fastlane to just give a little bit of temporary excitement Daniel Bryan-wise for WrestleMania. And yeah, he never wins. That's not the Daniel Bryan way. No. You show all of his motion and passion, and then he doesn't do any. He loses, and he's kind of in a mid-card match. That's my expectation. Anyway, that's the Raw review. What did you make of Monday Night Raw? Were you as kind of mediocre feeling as I was? I've seen people generally enjoy the Raw. For me, again, it was just, it had purpose. It was still mediocre, but it was mediocre with direction, which is like an improvement over other things. There's matches finally being set for WrestleMania. You're getting to see things go a certain way, which I'm all in applause for. It's just seeing it get announced now and build up that hype for WrestleMania, where they're aiming apparently for 75% kind of attendance. However, the ticket sales going online keep getting delayed, so I wonder why. Wait and see. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but the going on sale was meant to be announced. They had advertisements planned. This just not happened. So it's been delayed for some reason. Assumably it's COVID related. You know, this worldwide pandemic thing, scarily enough, WWE having their first show with fans, scarily enough, there's quite a lot at play here. Quite a lot of plates to handle. And hopefully, I don't know, in terms of atmosphere, it'd be nice, really, as a viewer. In reality, it's one of the things where, yeah, it would be nice, but I'm not forgetting the reality of the situation we're in, where maybe that amount of people's just a little bit of a jump. Maybe. Like, yes, Florida has allowed 100% capacity, but being realistic. Like, for example, the stadium operators will not want a lawsuit on their hand, and if they accidentally host a super spreader event, yeah, they're going to be a bit worried. So it kind of makes sense. Like, even though Florida's allowed 100% capacity, that's what, like, nobody else has actually done it. No one's actually run an event like that in Florida, to like the big stadiums especially. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Immediately, 75% sounds a bit too much. 50% was the first number that felt a bit more in line of reasonableness. We'll wait and see. But yes, and that's the end of the Raw review. I'll be back on Thursday for the NXT review. You can catch me on Twitch as well at The Implications with 2 S's. I'm currently streaming Yakuza 0. I did Final Fantasy yesterday, but I really enjoyed myself. I like Yakuza 0 today. So if you want to go check that out, you can. Also, you follow me on Twitch at the Damn Implicat. That's damn as in damn. I can't say Implicat, Jesus. And also the New Japan Cup column that I'm doing with Jeremy Donovan of the Keeping It Strong Style podcast. That is up on the Wrestling Headlines website. I think it's still the most recent column posted. I posted it like early yesterday morning. So that is up and good to read. It's top 5 matches of the first week of the New Japan Cup and our performer of the week as well. If you want to go check that out, muchly greatly. Also follow Wrestling Headlines. I've got that stuff on the screen now to finally plug it. Follow Wrestling Headlines at Wrestle Headlines, and of course Wrestling Headlines on Facebook as well. Our Facebook is incredibly active, which is great to see. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever understand Facebook, but I do know. A lot of interaction over there, which is awesome to see. Anyway, as I stand up straight to say goodnight, with that, say thank you for watching, liking, starring, whatever thing you're on, clicking the bell, whatever it is, just engaging in any way, and hit me up on Twitter or whatever, commenting on the Laws of Pain post itself, whatever it is. Thank you. It's not taken lightly. Much appreciated, or whatever it is. And with that, I'll see you on Thursday for the NXT review. With that, I bid you adieu. Adios.